Today we are going to talk about linear equations, and this is really just a basic intro to linear equations. Please take a second and write down the definition of linear equations. I know it's kind of long, but I think it's important that it's in your notes. It says a linear equation is an equation of two variables. Unlike the equations we were doing before that we could solve for the one variable, here we'll have two variables, and you can't really solve for these linear equations. When we have a linear equation, we have one variable that we say depends on the other variable, so that one variable is dependent. That's usually what we call the y value or the y variable. And then the other is independent. It's not depending on anything else. And we call that usually the x. So independent is usually the x, and dependent is usually the y. And when you graph any linear equation, it makes a line. Notice the word line right in the word linear. So if you graph a linear equation on a coordinate plane, it makes a line. A line. And then this format down here, this y equals mx plus b, you are going to see this quite a bit for years and years to come. I don't want you to worry too much about that, but I just wanted to make sure you were aware of it. We call this format slope-intercept form. I'm not going to get into why. Just wanted to make sure you had at least seen it. First example, Miss Woodruff's sister is 2 years older than she is. So here, there's not just one variable. There's two. There's my age, and there's my sister's age. Those both change, or they both vary. So we really have two variables. One of the hardest things is figuring out which variable you would consider independent, and which variable you would consider dependent. In this case, my sister's age depends on my age. Or you can say that my age would be the input value, where my sister's age would be the output value. The input value is generally the independent, and the output value is the dependent. Because my age is independent, it's going to be the x value. My sister's age is going to be the dependent, or the y value. Now that we've defined our variable, we want to be able to write our equation. It says that Miss Woodruff's sister is 2 years older, and that's the same thing as plus 2. So Miss Woodruff's age plus 2 is going to be Miss Woodruff's sister's age. So we can write that as an equation. X plus 2 equals y. Because this equation is solved for y, meaning y is by itself on one side of the equal sign, we would call this slope-intercept form. With this equation, we can do a lot. One thing we can do is make a table of values to represent this equation for a bunch of different values of x. I randomly picked some values of x for me to use. So when I was born, my sister would be y equals 0 plus 2. She was 2 years old. At 10 years, she would be y equals 10 plus 2. She was 12 years old. And I can do that for any age I want to. So with my table of values filled in, what I've really just created is a whole bunch of ordered pairs. Right? For every age I am, my sister is 2 years older than I am. So my ordered pair when I was born would be 0, 2. When I was 25, it would be 25, 27. When I was 27, it would be 27, 29. And with that, we can make our graph if we want to. You're not going to be expected to do that right now, but I'm going to go ahead and make a graph because I want you to see what it looks like on the graph. Here I have my ordered pairs from the other page. And I have my coordinate plane here. Now you'll notice that I only have the positive x and positive y values because I obviously was never a negative age, and nor was my sister. So I only needed quadrant 1. Quadrant 1 is what we call the positive x and the positive y values. So if I plot all of these points, notice that my x-axis is the axis that goes left to right, and the y-axis is the axis that goes top and bottom. Let's see what happens. Here I have all of my points plotted, and you'll notice that I can connect these to make a line. And again, that's what makes this a linear equation. You can connect all of the points to make a straight line. So this is a linear equation. As I get older, my sister will also continue to be 2 years older, and it will continue to make a straight line going up. And again, that's what makes it a linear equation. When you plot the points, it makes a line.